Is that what I think it is? Welcome back, troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. It's time for our weekly mod collection demo shop recap. And as you can tell by this intro, there's a few interesting pieces this week. Starting with the mod collection though, what do we got available right now? Looks like Black Les Paul Custom, interesting L-4 Mahogany guitar, a Lefty Olive Drab Modified 335, and some of the old friends that we've already seen. Hey, these two are twins. But I'd say the two most interesting ones are the Special and the L4. This Special's lasted quite a long time, but they call the finish Cherry Snow. So looking at this, you can tell it's kind of got the regular cherry color finish that some of these do have, which, yeah, in case you missed it, they do offer a vintage cherry color on these now at $16.99 brand new. So it looks to me like what they did is they put a translucent white layer over top of that. We've seen this once before, and we've also seen them do perimeter bursts with this translucent white finish. So this is one that probably doesn't look that good in stock photos, but as you get it in the light, you can kind of see that sparkle, almost matte white effect come into play. It might not be my favorite finish in the world, but hey, they're trying to do some fun December themes. I'm all for it. Unfortunately, it's been sitting around for a while though. Kind of a similar story on this L4. When I first saw this, I thought, oh, that's a very slick looking guitar. Almost kind of looks like an ES-175, but with a few other custom attributes. But I thought, why did they not do a crazy custom finish on it? Because I don't think I've seen them go too crazy on anything like this, but then you have to remember your target demographic for guitars like these. Generally, they don't want crazy flashy instruments unless instead of jazzy, they're like a rockabilly guy. Man, yeah. Pinstriping this would probably look pretty sweet. It would be a clashing between two worlds, but that's pretty pricey for a guitar within the mod shop. However, for a newer L4, comparing to these other historic ones on the used market, I mean, it doesn't seem that crazy. But anyways, let's get on to the good ones. So it seems Gibson wants to do those limited edition Christmassy finishes like I was thinking that they should do a couple of episodes ago. But unfortunately, what they delivered this week, for me, it was a complete miss. So let's see our first one that they called Tinsel Burst. So here's what we got for Tinsel Burst. You know, tinsel, it's the stuff. You put it around your tree. It's normally gold and silver. So what did they do? They have a silver base coat, and then instead of a black outline like for Silver Burst, they decided to do gold. Nah, doesn't do anything for me at all. I was able to get a in the flesh photo of one of these, and I would say it looks a little bit better than the stock photos because now it starts to remind me of like Goldburst. And then to make matters even worse, it was only a top refin only. Why would the back of your guitar be black for a Christmas? Like if you're gonna do this, how about you give it a transparent green? I know that sounds really ugly with a silver sparkly top, but it's very Christmassy. You're putting that stuff around the Christmas tree. But then they also had another holiday finish. They called this one Vintage Holiday. I will say, given the choice between the two, as they sat currently, I would probably have chosen this one, but neither of these Christmassy finishes really appeal to me. You can see this one's like a spearmint green that kind of fades out into like a gold sparkle. Maybe it would look better in person. But this is another one that they left as a black back. But perhaps the most unique guitar out of the entire collection this week was this one. About 2 months ago, I got an email from the guy who runs these divisions, and he shared a photo of a very similar guitar as this, and he asked me what I thought of it, and I said, that looks fantastic, but this is the first time I've seen it show up. So this started life as one of those ES Les Paul basses. So it would have looked like this, probably had a light figured top, 4 strings. It was never really a super popular model, like there's other Les Paul bass models out there in case you are interested. But this was one of the few times that they made a semi-hollow version of it. Kind of a cool guitar. But then over here, do you guys see what they did? They took it and converted it into a bass 6. So it's like a guitar, but almost like baritone-like with all that. You know, Fender has a bass 6. You guys know what I'm talking about. So they converted it from 4 strings into 6 strings total. They put a new headstock veneer on here. They gave it a custom finish called Obsidian Pearl. They swapped out the pickups. They had to move the bridge and tailpiece, put a 6-string version one on. But this thing was expensive, almost $6,000. You come over here, you can buy these on the used market, usually between like $1,800 to $2,500. So let's say you got an okay deal at $2,000 on one. If you sent it to Gibson, they generally charge about $2,500 for a refinish, a complete one. Maybe that's gone up since the last time I checked, but that was the last quote I had ever gotten a couple of years ago. And then I would assume for the other modifications, they would probably charge you something a little crazy like $1,000. So you put that all together in your calculator and you're at $5,500, which is very close to what this is, but you could also take this to a qualified luthier and get that job done for a lot cheaper. But you have to compare apples to apples, leaving the Gibson factory like this versus an aftermarket modification. I was shocked by that price point. However, I did buy something this week, but I'm not going to tell you which one. And no, don't bother watching to the end of the video. I'm not telling you this week, not for 3 weeks in a row. But let's just say I did a lot of contemplating on this one. Next up, we've got a Thunderbird bass that went a bit crazy. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4 pickups in this beast. That was tempting to pick up because I remember a couple of weeks ago, I think they had one that had 3 pickups and I was like, why not 4? And they did it. Thank you. It's cool. It looks like one of the high performance series ones. At least it's got the truss rod cover of one. And they've got the Skunk Baxter style flippity switchers on here. We had even more Firebird fun this week. This time a more regular style Firebird, except for they added some knobs there and they gave it like a brass colored pickguard with a Strat style switch. And then it looks like they have like one of those bass pickups in the middle and they put a Firebird on it. That's a really sweet looking Firebird. However, they're calling that middle pickup a 70s rhythm humbucker. I'm not really sure how they did that. Do they just have one of the bass covers over top of like a humbucker? I guess whoever bought that, if you ever tear it apart, I'd be interested to see how they pulled that off. It just looks like the bass pickup version to me. But that one lasted in the shop for a couple of hours. And then we have this sweet one. Not Christmassy themed at all, but Teal Blast Widow. This thing is so cool. You've got the blue binding on the headstock, the blue inlays, the nice dark burst finish on that, the blacked out pickups. I think I might have preferred to have like black chrome covers on the pickups, but that's just me. But at the same time, the straight up chrome hardware, I think it does complement this finish. And a huge selling point for this one is they went all out. It's got it on the back of the headstock. It's got it on the neck. They even sprayed it over our decal logos and serial number. But the biggest, like, what is, why? Why a brown backplate? I hope that's just catching the light strangely and it's actually black. Doesn't look like they played with the pickups at all or anything, but that is one seriously blue custom. I dig it. That wraps up the mod collection. Let's check out the demo shop. There's a whole bunch of stuff available. You can follow that affiliate link in the description, but I'm just going to show you my favorites, or the interesting wood grains. This one, a mahogany Flying V. Ever since they introduced the Carina style ones, it seems like they don't produce these as much. So it was kind of nice to see one of these at a sane price, you know, $4,000 versus the $8,500 for the other one that's in their shop and $10 grand for it brand new. I kind of like the dark color of the mahogany, but Carina is the correct wood if you're going for 50 spec. And yes, now the one that everyone is talking about. So, when I talked to the guy who ran this division within Gibson, he said a couple of months ago that he never planned on listing a headstock repaired guitar. He just thought it really wasn't worth the shop's time to repair it and then sell it. However, yeah, this one has a headstock repair. And I can't say I blamed them, because this was likely a custom order for somebody, and I don't know. Somebody at the custom shop has a good story to share with this thing. Maybe it was broken there, maybe it got broken in transit to the customer at the dealer. I don't think they shared those details, unfortunately, but judging by the color of this one, it was likely a custom order. Because this is the only thing within the Murphy Lab division that is offered in this configuration. It's $7,200, they only offer it in classic white. So somebody had to have custom ordered it in this Pelham blue. So when something happens and you have that much money into a guitar, it would be a darn shame to scrap the entire thing, right? So I think it's okay that they repaired this and are selling it as is. The only thing I have some gripes with are the price. I mean, $5,600, down from $7,299, granted. It just doesn't seem worth it to me. I would rather pay a little bit more and get one minty fresh. However, I do still see this guitar selling because of the novelty. It was the very first headstock repair that Gibson ever publicly sold. Serial number 000421, that's right. Was this the one I bought because it was so infamous? I mean, at least they had the common decency to put a stinger over top of it to hide it a bit. But to be honest, these guys are great at building guitars, right? But as far as doing repairs that are hidden and good, that's not necessarily their strong point looking at this one. I mean, if you've got finish over top of your repair, I'm sure they could have made it completely invisible. But maybe at the same time, they didn't want to do that because then it might not have got listed correctly. It's good to actually be able to show that. But yeah, that one's got all the watchers because of that. Next up, we have a Les Paul Standard left-handed in Tobacco Burst. I am ashamed to say that looking through this entire thing, I was just thinking, okay, yeah, that's a lefty. It looks a little bit weird to me because I'm a right-handed guy. It's got a nice top, but then, oh my goodness, it's got 2 pickguards. I'm so used to seeing it right here, my brain just filled it in, and when I saw the one over here, it's like, oh, it's because it's a lefty. And then when I saw them both, it's like, oh man, that's just crazy. Why would they do such a thing when it's such a beautiful top? I don't know. But that is a screaming deal if you're a lefty. That's a whole $1,000 off just to have to deal with a second pickguard and maybe a couple of other small blemishes on it. Snap that up if you're a lefty. Next up, we had a 60s Tribute. I just like the wood grain on this one, specifically because of this. The wood grain right here is so defined. Normally, it looks like this. You see how it's not like a hard line? It's kind of sketchy. The wood grain patterning is not extra dark. This one, it stands out and punches you in the face. I mean, despite actually liking the kind of squiggly look a little bit better, this one had something interesting going on. I've definitely seen some custom shop tops with that on it. Speaking of interesting standards, this one's $2,300. One of the P91s, essentially they just put gold hardware on it. It looks nice. I think a dealer should pick this up as like a custom limited edition run just for them. And I like the cream backplates. It looks great with that mahogany wood grain. Then we have this classic. It's a good price. It's got a weird pick guard, but it's a good price. I don't think I could approve of that pick guard on anything else. It kind of reminds me of those witch doctor nose hat guys. But it looks like they mixed chrome with black hardware. That's kind of cool. And I like the contrast of that black headstock with this bright cherry red finish with the black hardware. That seriously transforms it. Look at it here, regular classic. Now look at it here, completely different. This 335 in natural is a satin finish at $2,900. I thought it was nice that they gave this the treatment of a custom-made higher-end version one, even though it's just a satin finish. Just because it's a satin finish, though, does not mean it is not a fantastic guitar. In fact, I tend to prefer the satin finishes, depending on the model. This one I wanted to share with you guys because $3,500 for a new model R7 that comes with a 2-year playability warranty. Fantastic price. Used, you're looking between $3,000 to $3,500. So you're still paying the upper end of a used guitar, but this thing still has a warranty, so that's a little bit different. And it's a dark back. They're cheating you on the case. They're giving a Gibson USA to you, but you get a custom shop. However, it's going to cost you at least $300 to get the correct case, so I don't know. Maybe now I feel a little bit cheated that they swapped the cases out. Maybe they just uploaded the wrong photo, though. But this 50 Standard, if you want a fantastic top, just like I was talking about last time, that 60th anniversary RO, how it might not look fantastic in photos, but it looks awesome in person. I actually had somebody email me. They said, hey, I bought that guitar based on your recommendation. This is another one I'd recommend. I can see it in this top. It is going to be so wavy and moving. It'll be fantastic in person, trust me. I don't care if you don't like the new pickup rings they put on there. Easily replaced. I think it actually kind of looks nice. You just kind of need to maybe match the poker chip or remove that. But that is going to be a slick looking guitar. And they've got the gold hardware on it. Kind of cool. And now we've got the sold listings at the time of recording. Standout piece was the 60 Standard. It's got a nice pinstripey top if you're into that with a good color. They had another one of these special double cut satins in a Firemist green. I had to do a double take. Was I going into last week's offerings? No, they did a second one up like this. They made over one of these 335s in 60s cherry. Offered a screaming deal on this 335 olive drab. Due to Chris Cornell's influence, olive drab green ES 335s, they sell like hotcakes and for a lot of money. His signatures, regardless of run, are bringing 8 to 12K nowadays. So being able to pick this thing up for a solid $2,500. If I would have saw that, I would have bought it too. And then this one, I like the serial number 3, 2, 1, 0. And to top it off, the wood grain wasn't too bad either. The 70s Flying V, they gave it one of those pearloid pickguards. I think it looks pretty cool, and they offered you a pretty nice discount. Just in case you're not familiar, they do offer these on Gibson's website now in the ebony finish, on top of offering white at most dealers, if you can ever find them in stock. And our last one to talk about tonight, Axcess Custom Bengal Burst. Not as cool as the one from last week. That one was pretty cool to me, but this thing's kind of cool in a different way. It's still a bit sporadic, but a little bit more traditional at the same time. The Bengal Burst finish is pretty cool. Alright, troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed this week's recap. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next episode. Take care. Dude, I'm serious, I'm not going to teal you guys this time. But thanks for watching.